Well, hello. And I know the obvious question is, Gene, why are you so dressed up? What's the occasion? What's the celebration? And I've got an excellent answer for that, actually 3 or 4 answers. Over the past year and a half, going on 2 years, my nonprofit foundation has been stymied because of a clerical error from my tax accountant on my IRS status. Finally, IRS has cleared all of that up, and I am legitimately on the scene as a nonprofit organization. Hence, I can start my drives for charitable contributions tax-free. So that is a great hurdle to have overcome, and I'm so happy because of it. Now, on top of that, there is another announcement that I would wish to make that is huge in my circle as a nonprofit organization. For the past, I would say, 8 years, I've been on a project whereby I've accumulated various large collections, historic libraries. Now I say I've accumulated them. I've gotten them, secured them, and gotten them for museum organizations and also put them into safekeeping. You might say they are in mothballs. Now we're talking about actually 9 historic libraries. Now what am I going to do with that? Well, I would love to have access to that as a researcher, as a historian. Also, think about the graduate students in academia that have been deprived of that type of research material for all of these years. Bringing these 9 collections into usage, giving them a home, so to speak, is going to be huge so far as the benefit to students, authors, to private individuals coming through and wishing to have research material. Because figure it this way, Brownsville is the primary source for research material dealing with the 1846 Mexican War, dealing with the cotton blockade of the Civil War, dealing with the border skirmish period of the First World War. Do you see where I'm getting at? And these records are in mothballs to this point, but not for very much longer. I've made contact with a philanthropic institution, and they have approached me 3 times now. Does that say something? Yes. I want to get those collections out of mothballs and put a roof over their head and make them available for your students and all other people that would wish to have access to them. So that's why I'm launching this particular period of importance to my foundation. I'm registered now with YouTube and Facebook in order to do a fundraising drive, and that is going to be launched immediately. Where are those funds going to go? Towards the actual development of this beautiful project that I'm mentioning to you about, the historical repository for Brownsville. So please, allow me to prevail upon you. When you see various programs come up on my Facebook site and YouTube and whatever, it is going to be a fundraising campaign. And every penny of this, as my other projects have done, is going to go towards this historic library repository for Brownsville. Please consider this. This is so important for the community, for the young ones, for academia, all involved. This is something that is, in a historic sense, will put Brownsville on the map. Thank you so very much for listening to me on this. The sun is going to shine over this particular spot once it's in place. Researchers from all over the world are going to come here and utilize it. That's why it's so important to me. I'm going to present a brief slideshow of sorts in order to give you a glimpse of the various modules that will go into this total repository that I spoke of. Historians from all over the world will look at each element and say, oh my God, that collection? Yes. Some of these individual collections are worth $1 million each, and we can put them under one roof here in Brownsville for posterity. I'm going to rattle off a list of the names of the various collections here, and then we'll get 2 pictorials on them. The first one is the John H. Hunter Memorial Library. That particular collection is priceless. There is no way that one can put a value on it. I think at one time it was estimated at about $1 million. The collection consists of about 9,500 units. That's the way that they gauge those things, individual pieces of artifacts. And it is the source for so much, extending back to the Mexican-American War. The second collection that we're working on, and we're in progress on this, is Don Francisco Iturria private papers. We're talking with the particular heirs of that estate in order to liberate that collection, and it is in mothballs. All of these are in mothballs for all practical purposes. It's an incredible assembly of the commercial notes and all that Don Pancho Iturria did in commerce. One of the formative agents in our community. And then, all right, the third one is the Yolanda Gonzalez Memorial Library. She was the premier person for genealogy in all of South Texas. And her collection has many, many genealogical charts, as well as the notes, founding families going back to the Nuevo Santander expedition. It is an amazing collection of very, very valuable. The P.G. Cavazos Historical Research Library. P.G. Cavazos is related to, going back to the original land grant, Jose Salvador de la Garza, and he was an avid historian and researcher, and that particular collection there is so valuable to this. There are about 5,000 units in that. The next one is the Skeleton Land Deed Records. Those are the records of land transfers, extremely important to a historian. The date on that range is 1850 to 1980, and there are about 100 tomes of recorded transactions of grantor grantees in a chain of custody on all of these land and property transactions, which is extremely interesting, and the Book of Brands as well for Cameron County. Next one is the Chamber of Commerce Archives. That's 1920 to 1990. There are 100 bankers' boxes of those. If you can imagine the Chamber of Commerce from 1920, actually 1919, they were there during all of the pivotal moments, the spotlight moments for our history. And these bankers' boxes have the ephemera, they have the photographs, they have all of the notes that were involved in that. A.A. Champion collection. A.A. Champion was the foremost historian, dipping back into the 19th century. And he did notes on everything. He was the one that was consulted when anybody was writing a book on the history of the area and whatever, because he saw firsthand so much of this, all the way from the horse-drawn buggies on upwards. And he rubbed elbows with all of the players that were on the field through the generations in the formation of South Texas and Brownsville in particular, and Point Isabel. And then my collection is about 5,000 units, and it is the assembly of all of the collections that have inured to me. My cheerleaders were the blue-haired ladies, if you can imagine, the old dynastic ladies, the heads of the families, and one by one, as they passed on, I obtained their collections. And there are thousands of photographs. There are thousands of pages, and those are in my collection, as well as in paper-bound books that completely span the history of the region. The next one we're working on is the Doug Perkins Memorial Library. He was the grandson of Robert Runyon, the great photographer. And in his collection, there are some very interesting pieces in there. The majority of the Robert Runyon collection is in possession of the University of Texas in Austin, but I've found out from the heirs, very close to that family, that there are 2,000 glass plates of photographs that have yet to be developed, and we plan on getting those into our collection, as well as the botanical notes and his notes on the Mexican Revolution and all of that. It's just an amazing collection. And then there are two other collections I'm not at liberty to discuss right now, but you can see the magnitude and the proportion of what the other collections are. You can imagine what the next two are. So all of these collections fold into a massive library, a massive repository that is the footprint and fingerprint of what South Texas was all about through the ages, from the days of conquest on up to present. This is so exciting a mission. But I don't want to give you the impression that I'm going out to you to fund the entire project. No, we've got the easy part of the financial burden. The foundations that I mentioned to you, combination thereof, the foundations that I mentioned to you before are the ones that are going to carry the heavy burden of the financing and all that's involved in that. We just need to raise the money in order to do the feasibility, and I am ready to do that. Please help us on this project. It is so worthy. Thank you again.